Tricep pushdown giving you problems like elbow pain or lacking tricep growth and want to optimize it. I'm John Jewett with J3 University. We elevate physique education, and today we're going to go over tricep anatomy a bit, how to improve your tricep pushdown, or if you're doing a rope extension, and how we can set this movement up to get the most out of it and also not have your elbows getting beat up. All right, so just to know a little bit of tricep anatomy and function, to help us improve our push down in all of our pressing movements, we'll have my lovely assistant Renee here demonstrate a few things for us. So Renee, if you turn around for me. All right, so just to look at the tricep, the different portions, we have the lateral head, the medial head, which lies a bit underneath the lateral head, and also the long head here. Now, two things to know is that the lateral and medial head, they attach on the humerus and go over into the olecranon process, which is on the ulna. It's kind of the bottom side of your forearm. These purely function in elbow extension. Now, one other head that differentiates is the long head. It attaches over on the scapula. So it does extend the elbow, but also it functions in shoulder extension, bringing the arm down, and also has a role in adduction of bringing the arm close to the torso. So in any overhead movements or movements where the upper arm is more fixed, the long head has a good position to function. Now, in your pressing movements, we had Renee extend out like she's doing a bench press. If she's bench pressing and the arm is coming back into shoulder extension and then back into shoulder flexion, that flexion movement, the arm going forward, is not an action of the long head of the tricep, even though it has some shoulder extension function. So this makes the long head not as useful in your pressing, but this is more so for your lateral and your medial head. So what does this mean? So to fully develop the tricep, we'd want some pressing. That's going to buy us a bit more of the lateral and the medial head, but we also want some isolation exercises in a fixed elbow position by your side and overhead. And that's why today we're going to cover a fixed position like your tricep pushdown. One last thing about some anatomy function thing is hand position. And what we went into to realize, if we turn Renee back around, is where this elbow point is, this bony prominence, is the main thing. And if we see Renee, she twists her hand up and down, rotating around. We notice this elbow position doesn't change. It's purely the hand. What you know is the radius is the bone that rotates around the ulna. So where this ulna position is what matters most. So whether you're holding a pronated grip in your easy bar push down or supinated grip, it really doesn't change anything around tricep function. But this is going to be important for why things are beating up your elbow, and you might have some forearm pain doing your push down. So with your tricep push down, usually you're staying in this pronated grip, and we have a force that's coming straight down. Now, if we looked at it from my front view, holding this bar, and if to keep that, remember that elbow position with the elbow pointing straight back and lining up with this line of force, to push this bar straight down, we have to keep our elbows in really tight. And once you try to find out if you're a wider guy, you have to start internally rotating to finish the movement. Now we see this elbow starts rotating outwards. So the natural movement of your tricep, if you're in this side position, is to go out this way to the body. But we have this implement that's going straight down. So two things happen. You get into this really weird rounded over position to turn into this press and finish it. Or as you push down, this elbow while it's rotating out, you start loading the side of your elbow because the elbow is this hinge joint, right? So if you're getting into pronation, that elbow rotates out. We're still having push down, but the elbow wants to go out this way. We load the side of that elbow a lot. And so that's why you might be running into elbow pain. So this is some fixes that we can do to really improve the push down, especially if you're a wider guy. Now, a rope does help this as it does spread, but you'll find as you spread it, it starts to get really hard at the bottom when the triceps are already hard to lock out. So we're kind of limited with this. We need something that gets us more into a natural position. So if we're really optimizing tricep positioning, we want something if you're just standing here naturally, shoulders at your side, that you could move and bring the line of force across the body. Well, we can do this really well with our cable setup and optimizing it. So we're going to take an ankle cuff. You can also do this with a D handle that's a rope. Slide the hand through to the base of the wrist. That way we're just loading the bottom of the ulna, which is also where the tricep attaches to. This is going to remove any contribution to like this loading the side of the elbow like you might have some pain from it. We're going to take this, hook it onto our cuff, and then we're going to simply step to the left of our cable if we're using our right hand and twist out about 45 degrees. What this is going to do is keep this cable running close to the body. So like with the rope extension, it's so far away typically that you might have a hard time bracing really well. So it's going to improve our brace. Next thing we're going to do Just, of course, bring this arm lined up with the side of the body. In a lot of extensions, like the rope push down, you might see some people start to rotate their shoulder over, turn into a press. It's kind of a point to cheat the movements and make it easier. So what we want to cue in this movement is shoulder down and back with that chest up. Now, what we do want is this cable about parallel with the arm. So what we can do in this position to get there is just bend at the hip a little bit, and you'll notice it'll get harder on the triceps as you do that. And the point of this too is being able to load the muscle under a stretch, which we know is really, really good for hypertrophy. So you can change the loading profile just based on how far away from the cable you are. Notice if I'm really far back, my forearm lines up with the cable. It's basically a row at this point, and it gets really hard as I extend, which might be great if you're struggling with some recovery from your elbow injury. But we can lean forward and change the resistance profile. Now when I extend back, it gets easier when the triceps gets short. So now the resistance profile matches the strength curve of this muscle. Another thing we want to do in this position is the elbow is out about 30 degrees, 15 degrees from the body, whatever's just biomechanically, just naturally comfortable for you. This also allows that long head that runs at a diagonal to match up with this natural position. And if we look to the side, a point of this doing too is when we bring this arm out about 30 degrees, you'll see that this cable runs through the shoulder joint, through the elbow joint, down to the wrist. So we're not having any loading on the sides of the joint, which is gonna make sure it's very efficient just for the tricep to function just as that hinge joint should. All right, so maybe you don't wanna do single arm and you wanna be efficient with your time, which I think single arm can be just as efficient because you're not gonna take long rest periods between single arm. You can basically do them back to back. But one thing that you can get off for like $15 are daisy chains, which daisy chains fix a lot of the issues with a really small rope or even a push down bar. Is you can attach this to your single arm attachment, but it's so long that it allows you to then diverge away from the body and line up really well. You can see if we were overhead that it would line up through the shoulder joint, through the elbow, and you still have this where you just stick your hand through it and do it just like we were instructed before. So these can come in really handy if you want to do a bilateral push down. So if your push downs have been bothering your elbows and you're trying to get the most growth possible and more optimize the movement, give a single arm cable extension a go. And if you need more information on how to improve your lifts, check out our JTU Applied Hypertrophy Optimization course, and we'll talk to you next time.